program is brought to you by IG. Trade over 12,000 shares and ETFs, including major tech giants with extended hours on an award-winning platform. IG, where traders are made.
And our stock of the day is Suncorp Insurance Group, confirming that it's finalised its reinsurance program for FY25 and expecting to finalise the sale of its bank to ANZ by the end of this month. It continues to expect its underlying insurance margins will finish between 10 to 12% in FY24, and the Chief Executive, Steve Johnston, saying that the company will now be in a position to consider other reinsurance covers that may be appropriate. Let's get into the analysis. In fact, we've got another stock to round out the show too in terms of insurance, but let's take a look at Suncorp. Jonathan, what are you seeing here? Because of course it's going to shed its banking business, so purely insurance. How well is it placed?
It's in a great sector, and that whole thematic insurance as well. Like obviously, we'll talk about another insurance company later on, but for some reason, I seem to get booked onto ausbiz during the inflation number, and it's happened 3 months in a row. And what I did in the first one of those segments was just talked about high print and high inflation and what companies do well in that. And what I should have done was the next 2 times just repeated the same cause, because obviously we've had higher inflation during that time. And the 2 sectors I did like was the energy resellers, so Origin, AGL have both done exceedingly well. And in terms of insurance, it's very hard to find a bad chart out there. So it doesn't matter if you're an insurance broker or a top line insurer. If you sell insurance overseas, or if you sell insurance just to Australia, you've got a fantastic chart and a tailwind behind you. So obviously, I remember when health insurance even popped up there with Medibank Private, allowing them to raise the cost of insurance. So yeah, it's just Suncorp's in the right sector, and there's tailwinds behind it. I just don't see inflation hitting that government target of 2% anytime soon, and I think they'll just keep raising prices into the future. So yeah, Suncorp, I'm quite bullish that, and that whole sector in general.
All right, unfortunately, we can't get the chart up. We seem to have an issue with that, but nonetheless, so you would have, a buy on it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Gary, what are your thoughts?
Look, I kind of agree with all the sentiment there. Obviously, the right sector to be in there. It's had some tailwinds there, but they're expensive now. So they've had everything go right for the insurers. And they're very expensive. So I think Suncorp and IAG in particular are very, very pricey in terms of where they sort of trade historically. They're trading at the top end of their sort of price to earnings sort of band. And much as I agree with Jonathan there, the rates aren't going to come down in Australia here. Probably, there's risk of going high there. But you've seen the ECB in Canada cut rates here. The Fed potentially could cut rates here in the next couple of months, potentially as well. So market will look ahead. And as much as I don't think rates are coming down in Australia for quite a while, if that could have a bearing on those, the market will look sort of forward a little bit there. So I'm a bit of a hold there. I just don't see on these multiples, and with all the good news they've had, and they've had a massive run up here. It's Suncorp and IAG have almost had this really, really strong run, and then actually popped into these sort of highs as well. So I think I just can't see where the gains are going to come from. I think there's other opportunities elsewhere in the market. I just think these things are sort of not priced for perfection, but they're priced on the very high end at the moment of where they normally trade at. So, so I'm not sure the catalyst is going to come off there, but to me, they're a bit of a hold here. I've actually sold some IAG here in the last few days. I think that got really, really expensive. So Suncorp's not quite as expensive, but pretty high. But QBE is probably a little bit more value orientated there. But I'll still be a bit cautious about the insurers there. For me, they're a bit of a hold here.
Okay. All right. Well, a difference of opinion right there then, just in terms of the insurers. So Gary Moore, partial to holding, perhaps preferring QBE there, and he sold IAG, whereas Jonathan has a buy on Suncorp. That is our stock of the day.
This program was brought to you by IG, Australia's #1 CFD provider. Trade over 17,000 markets with extended hours on key US shares and competitive spreads, all on an award-winning platform. IG, where traders are made.